Now, by far, one of the fan-favorite characters within the Skywalker saga is without a doubt Anakin Skywalker, portrayed by actor Hayden Christensen, with his work being done in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith by creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, this is one thing that a lot of fans were really looking forward to seeing on the big screen when it came to The Rise of Skywalker as a film by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as George Lucas. A lot of fans were very much excited about the title of the movie at the time when it was revealed back in April of 2019, The Rise of Skywalker, right? A lot of people led themselves to assume that it had something to do with either Luke and or Anakin, where in reality, by Kathleen Kennedy, it all had to do simply with Rey calling herself a Skywalker at the very end of the film. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that, as of right now, they really are trying to shape themselves up to becoming a more successful brand. They really want to bring Star Wars to the same exact level as the Marvel Cinematic Universe to really make it as successful as they can. Both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are doing everything in their power to really make Star Wars pretty much, far better than it ever was in the past. However, when it comes to The Rise of Skywalker as a movie, we do know that the production of this film was very shaky. It had a lot of issues going on behind the scenes because of what Kathleen Kennedy initiated. She is the one who essentially deleted so many scenes that had to do with Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker, as well as Ben Solo, Rey and Palpatine. All the major characters had far more scenes in the movie that was actually going to be quite impressive in comparison to what we got on the final cut of the film. Now, with that being said, of course, with both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek now developing brand new Star Wars films and TV shows, they are primarily focused on the future of the Star Wars franchise now that Kathleen Kennedy is out of the picture for the most part, with her creative power stripped away. It's described, however, that though the sequel trilogy was a very big mess on Disney's part, since Kathleen Kennedy interrupted with many of the scenes by deleting many segments from the film and more, it's noted that actor Hayden Christensen behind the scenes during the filming of The Rise of Skywalker had many issues with the direction of the film once Kathleen Kennedy started deleting scenes and altering the second and third acts of the movie, that at first drastically reduced her screen time or his screen time on the Star Wars film because of Kathleen Kennedy. Now, it's noted that actor Hayden Christensen was very angry with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy for deleting all of his scenes from the movie and throwing them into the trash, essentially, after deleting all of the segments within the second and third acts of the film that were actually going to be quite important to the overall plot of the film. Now, beyond this, after deciding that she wanted little to nothing to do with Anakin Skywalker in the movie and only decided to use a line or two of dialogue of Anakin Skywalker from the scenes that he actually worked on. So, like I said before, this is Kathleen Kennedy at her, absolute worst, in my opinion. The fact that she is the one who initiated many of the scenes of Anakin Skywalker to be deleted, a lot of scenes that Hayden Christensen worked on were completely scrapped. Kathleen Kennedy had no issue doing this, but Hayden Christensen really poured his heart and soul into reviving the character of Anakin and really bringing him back into the equation here, right, of the Skywalker saga. That's ultimately what they wanted to do, is that they really wanted to give Star Wars, a more, I guess you could say, connection to the Skywalkers. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi already kind of detached from that, and Kathleen Kennedy, in the beginning, was pretty much up for the idea of JJ, George, and Chris allowing Anakin and Luke to have a big presence in the movie, where she eventually had a change of heart and decided to actually scrap those scenes. You can only imagine as to why Hayden Christensen had such a big problem with Kathleen Kennedy's overall direction of the Star Wars universe, right? So, on top of all of this, alright, now it's described that, of course, beyond all of this, that Hayden Christensen got into many arguments with Kathleen Kennedy over deleting his scenes from the movie, and that Hayden kept on pressuring J.J. Abrams to actually try and convince for Kathleen Kennedy to put the scenes back into the movie in somehow, some way. Bob Iger at the time was convinced by Kathleen Kennedy that the Anakin Skywalker scenes were way too over the top and would have caused the film's success, where in reality, it did the complete opposite by deleting the Anakin scenes in the movie. Hayden Christensen was also very annoyed with the higher-ups over at Disney for even allowing Kathleen Kennedy to delete his scenes from the film. Even while Hayden was filming his scenes, both Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy would fall into creative differences over Anakin Skywalker's portrayal in the film and how it would have actually been done for the fans to witness on the big screen. Now, further, it's described that George Lucas at the time was the one who wrote the Anakin Skywalker scenes from Episode 9, and that J.J. Abrams was going to handle it more so on the directing end of things. So, once again, George Lucas is the one who actually wrote all of the Anakin Skywalker scenes when he was working closely with J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. And what they were really going to do with the very end of the Skywalker saga was really going to pay a big tribute to the Skywalker bloodline at the end of the day. When you think about it like this, obviously, a lot of fans were very much skeptical, even still, with Episode 9 after the trailer came out. A lot of fans were very much like, why is Palpatine back? Why is it called The Rise of Skywalker? Is this a big game by Disney? Are they misleading us? All these different things, right? And it actually ended up being just that. It ended up being that Kathleen Kennedy chose that title to really get people into the theater seats. And you can only imagine what was going through Hayden's mind at the time when he was trying his absolute best to really bring back the character of Anakin Skywalker in the mix, to just really kind of excite the fans, to really give them something true to look forward to, right? And George Lucas, Jon Favreau, at the time were really kind of busy coming up with also ideas for The Mandalorian Season 1 and kind of getting that all rolling out. But on top of this, Kathleen Kennedy really had no issue with deleting those scenes of Anakin Skywalker in the film. Now, past this, Kathleen Kennedy figured that Hayden was doing a poor job as Anakin Skywalker in the film and decided to pull the plug on the scenes, where it took many weeks of conversations to, at the very minimum, include some of Hayden's dialogue as Anakin Skywalker in the movie, where he originally appeared before Rey in the film in the Lost City that was later used for the scenes on Exegol, in which Rey hears the Force ghosts of the past. Hayden Christensen kept on trying his best to do everything he could with the character, where Kennedy kept having issues with Anakin in the movie. Before Hayden's scenes got deleted, it got so bad to the point in which Hayden nearly quit the project himself before J.J. Abrams convinced him to stay on set of the movie. The film was also going to tap into Anakin appearing through the netherworld of the Force, which also got cut from the film eventually as well, which was out of J.J. Abrams' hands as Kathleen Kennedy made the call. So once again, I think that when we look at it, in hindsight here, The Rise of Skywalker had the opportunity, it really had the chance to become something more than it really could have been if Kathleen Kennedy did not interrupt. Could you imagine what the movie would have been like if Kathleen Kennedy really did not delete all these scenes one after the other that Hayden Christensen was a part of, and how, Mark Hamill was also involved with this, and Ian McDiarmid? It would have been very much successful. It would have also caused a lot more repeat viewings of the film. I honestly do believe that with Anakin's presence, it would have actually definitely, given the fans to actually have an actual reason to go ahead and see the movie more than twice. I sure would have seen it more than twice if Anakin Skywalker was in there. The other thing is this, is that this movie also dealt with a lot of issues with Kathleen Kennedy not wanting to rely more so on the source material, Star Wars Legends. J.J. Abrams originally wanted to explore a lot of Star Wars Legends content to come to life in Episode 9, and Kathleen Kennedy was against that. I'm not quite sure as to exactly what her problem was with Star Wars Legends. I think it's gold. I think it's amazing. I think that, now that we have George, John, and Dave really working at their absolute best to bring it all back together, Kathleen Kennedy was just very much strict with her rules. She did not want that to actually become a part of this new universe or of the very end of the Skywalker saga at the time. So I can only, feel bad for Hayden Christensen of what he had to go through. You can only imagine, not being in a Star Wars film since 2005 and getting the opportunity to come back and then just getting thrown into the dust. So like I said before in the past, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.